What up, Fish Tank people? FishTankTV.com. Dustin's Fish Tanks trying to bring it to you on a Wednesday. I'll turn the lights on, see what you guys can say. Here's what's going on. Just in the chat, my man Bailey wanted to know about floating plants. So I'm going to talk about one of my favorite floating plants, and that is water sprite. Should have done a Species Sunday. I think I already have. But floating plants are tight because they do a great job of, they're just in general fast growers, and they do a great job of kind of combating algae, reducing like light loads in tanks, and they also look sweet. This one right here, actually I just broke, is a narrow leaf water sprite, and I'm just going to talk about on a high level of floating plants. You got your duckweed, you got your water sprite, you got Sylvinia, what else you got? You got the water hyacinth. And in general, like I used to keep a lot of water sprite, but I don't that much anymore. And I don't know, I haven't been keeping a lot of it. I think I actually sold a bunch of it to somebody, but it's actually a pretty cool effect. And if you see it from underneath, it kind of looks dope as well. So I wanted to show that floating plants, they have the aerial advantage, and Diana Wallstead talks about that in her book. Second plug for her. So the aerial advantage basically means that if a plant comes up out of the water, it can more easily get carbon dioxide in the oxygen and carbon dioxide rich atmosphere, and then that in turn kind of like turbocharges the plant so it can grow really quickly. So that's why you'll see plants like duckweed and like water lettuce and water sprite really just kind of take off in the tank because they're able to come up out of the top. You'll also see that with swords when they're allowed to come up out of the water, which coincidentally I have going on right here. This is still chilling, still surviving. This tank actually looks kind of bad right now. I'm kind of ashamed of it. The crypts just melted in the front, and the fact that I ripped about 6 orders of aquarium plants out of it, so it looks terrible. But this plant's coming here. But anyway, I had somebody ask me, a couple people have been asking me recently about, by the way, this is not in the water, so you all know. A couple people have been asking me about RO water. Should I use RO water to plant a tank? Do not use RO water in a planted tank. That makes no sense, and here's why. RO water is filtered reverse osmosis water. So basically what they do is they take the water, run it through a bunch of membranes, and remove anything of any like metals, bacteria, all kinds of stuff out of the water. Like everything, just chlorine, everything gets removed. And here's the thing, plants feed off of that stuff, so you want that. My boy Brian, who's got the sick TV tanks and the cichlid tanks and all that, he cooked an entire tank of Anubias, like just killed it by using RO water. You want all that bad stuff. In fact, I used to load the, when I still had the reef, rest in peace reef, by the way, I'm glad I'm done with you. I used to actually load the wastewater into my tanks, and it went nuts. And it was really actually pretty beneficial. And plants like this Crinum natans right here, which by the way I'm thinking about carrying on aquatic jungles. I don't. I currently have a couple Crinum left. But anyway, these plants would grow nuts in reverse osmosis, the wastewater. So not the reverse osmosis water, but the water that came out of there. Super, super concentrated metals and just a lot of like stuff that plants eat. So I think a big mistake that people make is they think that plants don't eat. I get a lot of questions on aquatic jungles on YouTube and on Fish Tank TV, and they're like, well, you know, I have this setup and and I got these great lights and everything, but plants eat, okay? They eat. They don't eat like you and I do, but they eat. They eat out of their roots. You got to feed them where their roots are. It's very, very important. So just think about that. Your plants eat. So like if you're feeding them perfectly clean water, you're not getting anything to eat. Like I don't know the exact details on this, but basically like you shouldn't drink RO water because it has like nothing in it, like can actually hurt you. I'm not exactly sure on that. So, but I mean the bottom line is plants eat, they want water, they want a water change, they want reset, and they need it. So they need all that stuff. Plants like remove metals from the water, so like the metals that are in your water are good for the plants. I mean, you know, plants absorb iron, there you go. So just kind of throwing that out there. So you definitely do not use RO water. So that's what's going on. A couple things going on. My man Dr. Tim is back, and he's back home, and he's on Fish Tank TV's chat. And welcome back, brother. Glad to have you. I know he's not doing too well health-wise, but he's back and he's doing a lot of cool things. So He's got an aquarium for sale that is 610 gallons, and he's asking $1,500. $1,500 for a 610 gallon aquarium to me is a steal. Like, if I had the space, I would totally do it, but I do not have the space, and I do not live anywhere near Arkansas. But if you want information, message me or message Dr. Tim over on fishtanktv.com. He's always on. In fact, message him. But yeah, I mean, 610 gallons is a ridiculous tank. So definitely going to want to check that out. So that's what I'm doing. Appreciate all the feedback, all the people hitting up the aquatic jungle, selling a lot of planted tank combos. So having a good time with that. So yeah, that's what's up.